Hiya. Okay, video today on something for the Brahma Duo. Might seem a weird thing to do, but I've got a funny feeling no one will buy it. However, I thought I'd do it because it could be quite handy. So here's the plot. The Brahma Duo, which is this. Hang on. Which is this little rig, as some of you have seen. This is to put in your two Xiaomi where's it gone? Xiaomi cameras, but with the fisheye lens. Okay, so the idea was that this nice little camera can do 360 videos and so on. And just so you're aware, I am looking into a 4K version. At the moment, this can compete I think can compete quite nicely with the Ricoh Theta, which is on its is a fantastic device. But I'm not saying anything about that, but this can compete with it quite nicely. And there's some improvements, some maybe not so good, you know. There is a 4K version coming, which I think will completely push the bar on, and that was one of the reasons for doing the battery. So I don't need to go into details about this, but the key thing was to me was the worst thing is with these when you go out, and I'm bearing in mind there is a slim version as well, so the cameras are close together. But the key thing about this was, there's going to be people who are going to want to do stop motion, and I think stop motion is something that's not really been stop motion and time lapse, something that not a lot of people have been doing at the moment. And one of the big problems is the batteries in here last about 60 minutes, 70 minutes, and then they're flat. Now, if you want to leave, for example, a camera to do time lapse for longer than that, a lot longer than that, then you're going to need to give it some power. Now, what if you're out in the middle of nowhere? What if you've got no mains near you? So you can't plug them into a mains. So that was the idea of the battery. And again, this might be a complete waste of time, but I just thought it would be quite useful. So I came up with this. Now, it's a bloody great big thing, okay? I don't know if you saw the original prototype, but it was a piece of junk, and I really made a mess of it. But this one's a lot better. There are good points, and as usual, there are down points to this. The good point is it can pretty much take most battery packs. So, for example, I originally did it with these. Okay, so we have these two little, they're 30,000 milliamp hours. And it still works with these, but you'll notice the holder is a lot bigger. Okay, it's a lot bigger than that, but you can put back to back. Let's put it right way. You can put these back to back and then strap them to it. Now it doesn't clip into place. Okay, they do need strapping. There's a number of ways you can strap it. You can use Velcro straps. You can use, oh god, I've lost them now. Cable ties work just as well, just to strap the batteries onto it. And you see, it's quite a big gap. You can see there's quite a big gap above. Okay, and the idea is for that is so that you can feed your power cables into the top and through the holes. Okay, and then feed them into the rig that's joined above. Okay. However, so they're quite good, and although they've got solar chargers, they don't give an awful lot of power. They're quite nice for just topping up, trickle charging, but not much more than that. Right. However, these are great batteries. These are called the Power Bank. Now, the links are on the order page for the holder. Okay. But funnily enough, I mean, you can see on here let me just show you the holder. And I'm only putting about a tenner profit on these just to try and recoup the cost of development. They're £56 for the holder, which I'm sorry, I can't do anything more than that. But that's literally, I've only put a tenner on that. But anyway, so it's designed to hold the small ones and the large ones, and they're quite Let's flip back. Right? It's fairly straightforward, but there's key things you need to know. If you use these ones, these little ones, they don't weigh too much. Okay, so when you put them on here, strap the two on, the weight's not too much. Okay, so Because bearing in mind, it's all the weight they're mounting at the base. But I tell you what, let me switch over and I'll show you on the other camera. Right. Okay, so you can see here the mounts on the base, all right, which now, again, I'll put the link on there. I get these from Amazon, and then basically well, you can put a screw in there, or I've got one of these just screw in pieces with a flat plate on it. But if you look at the top, can you see that? Let me just make sure that, yeah, there you go. I'm just using a screw that goes into, well, that's not a good view of my face, is it? You don't want to see that. And on the top, again, all these parts are listed. So you can see the parts. Hang on, let's see. So that's just screws into the top, and it's just an adapter, okay? And you then mount it. So that will then mount onto your camera, your rig, okay? So with an adapter, here, here's the adapter. Here's the adapter, okay? So there's the adapter there, and the screw goes through. Let me try and put this here so you can actually see this close up. Right, so you've got the little adapter here with the screw, and the screw goes into there. Okay, and it's fairly straightforward, and it just screws into the base of that. Right, let me show you can see this. So I screw that in nice and tight. I want to turn it around a bit like that. Okay, so that's nicely tight fitted on there, and then you get your stand, and you just literally clip that. Okay, onto there, it's fixed. Now, very important to understand, that's actually fairly secure. Okay, that's actually fairly secure on there. It's pretty strong. But obviously, you know, if you're going to stick this out, you're going to expect this thing to survive being thrown over and whatever. It's not that. It's not up to that job. It's pretty strong. I mean, these are pretty damn strong. And the rig that goes on top, when it fits on there, it weighs next to nothing, so you know that's going to be quite strong overall. However, bear in mind these things are actually quite heavy, so it's obviously putting a strain on this down here, which again is pretty strong. But if you're going to put it out in force 9 gale, right, you know, just be careful about where you use these things. But apart from that, I think it can serve some purposes quite well. Right, and the most important reason I did this was that when you put the cameras in here, the camera can't be, the battery can't be seen, so it's nice and clear down below, so you don't actually see the battery, and these will give, I think, anything up to 18 hours of use. I suppose that's the key thing I should have started with. Let's switch back. These will give you about, these I haven't actually run these out yet, but they're 50,000 milliamp hours. So in the cameras, these are 1,000 milliamp hours. Again, they give about an hour. So in theory, 50 hours. Now, whether that works out, I don't know, because one of these batteries is charging one of these cameras. So in theory, you should get a day out of them. You know, just keep it constantly charged. So you know, full daylight out if you want to do morning to evening, and just leave them taking photographs. Then, so that's the batteries. Now, what I'll do is I'll show you. Let me just show you how to connect. Right, let's take that off of there. Right, so I'm going to show you the big batteries because it was actually designed for these. Okay, and it's because you can put many different types. They're literally just, they're a holder to strap against it. Okay, these are quite small actually, but you probably need to push them to the left or to the right, because at the base it won't fall through if you hold it flat, but to the right or left is probably handy. I would say I know it's going to sound, people go, oh no, that's a bit tacky. A couple of really strong elastic bands would be easier. Just pop over that, but I'm showing you that, you know, I'll show you another way. So Velcro straps you could use, or I think in an ideal, I actually think that cable ties are probably better. So let's just do this. Now I'm going to show you with cable ties and wiring this whole thing up. So obviously I've mounted the base on, and I've mounted the top on. So you remember there was a screw in there, holds this little adapter. You can do this anywhere you like, but this is just, you know, to give you an example of how this thing can go together. And then what you want to do is get your cable ties, and you're going to make a loop out of them. Okay, let's see if I can see if I switch, this makes it easy for you. Okay, so I'm going to make a loop. So you kind of clip it in there, and then get this one and clip that one in there. Okay, just push it through, just start it. Yeah. Have I got a duff? No, I've got it the wrong way, idiot. Right, there we go. So that's in there. Now we get one battery round this way underneath, one battery on top. And you'll find these ones fit absolutely beautifully, but again, the issue, they are quite heavy. Okay, now what you want to do is just pull that in a bit tight on here. Pull them in. I've got these locating, if you see these little notches in here, and they're just a hole so you can hold them in place. And just pop that into there. You can do 2 of these if you want. I think one would probably be enough. I mean, literally, that's pretty much it. Pull that tight, hold that in place, and just pull them all tight. Because they're held side to side, they're not going. I mean, you know, this is not meant to be held. This is not industrial fitting. This is just to hold it in place. That's nice and easy. Then just trim the edges off. Okay. Now, importantly, if I just cut that off there. Cut that off there. Now you can use any fixing method you like. This is just one way of doing it. So that's now got it. They're not going anywhere. They can't come out. They're held in there nice and tight. Okay. And you'll also notice in the top, can you see you've got access to one of the USBs? Okay, because you're only going to connect one to the top unit. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to stand that there. I'll tell you what, I'm going to plug that. I'm going to plug one in there, and I'm going to plug one in the other side. Okay, I'll hold that like that. You can still see this, I think. Now I'm going to feed this one through one way. You can either get, it's up to you how you feed these cables in. It's completely up to you. Right. The main thing is, as long as they go through there nice and neatly. Is that right? Yeah. Just bend them down a little bit. Just bend them flat. Okay. So you got that on there like that. Let's feed that out there. Now you need to put your top on here to get that tight. And your fixing is completely up to you how you do your fixing. Remember, your fixing method might be different to this one. So see, that's now fixed on there. Okay, alright. And now get my camera. Okay, get my camera and just plug it into the back. Feed that into there. Turn that round. It's kind of holding itself. Hang on, let's get that. It's tricky to do this on camera. Right, so if you see, I've now popped that into there, and then just get my screw. Hold the camera. I should actually hold the camera, but now if I just screw that up, that's that one done. And then do the same thing on this side. Feed your cable in there a little bit so it's hidden away, because you don't really want to see it all the way. Get your next camera. Now these are now powered, and they will run for quite a long time. So just feed that into there. Yeah. Make it a little bit neater so I can get these in. Right, that's that. Oh, I've turned it on. Didn't want to do that. I'm doing this to your back. Right, all I'm doing is I'm doing that one up there. Okay. Right. So now the important thing to bear in mind is, now I haven't done that. This is not done up tight to that. Okay. Let me do it off a little bit tighter. Right. You obviously need to tighten all these up. Okay. To make sure they're tight, but you can see they're glowing. The battery chargers are on, and it's now. Let me turn it off. Let's turn it off. So that's now there. And as I said, if you look at the side, the lens basically doesn't see this. So when you do stitching, it doesn't actually see this, which is quite nice. So you can now use this for doing just videos. You can do it for time lapse. You can do it for whatever you want to do. I mean, if you're going to do a long video, you need to obviously make sure you've got cards that can cope with it. But now you can run this for hours of video recording if you want to, in place, and you could be controlling it from a room somewhere, from outside the room. This becomes into its own, really, probably the 4K rig, I think, as well, because when that actually ships, then you can have this. You could have this in almost like a studio environment. Just have this stand in the middle, just have your controller, and then record your shots. So I think it's got some legs, so that you can still access the charging points in there if you want when you want to charge this, so you don't have to take it apart to charge the battery. But yeah, so there you go. So sorry it's so expensive, but that's the printing cost, unfortunately. But anyway, hopefully you may find it of use, and if you do, let me know. Fantastic. If you think it's rubbish, but by all means let me know. But remember what I said. This weighs nothing, right? This joint here is strong as anything. Okay, but if you're using these batteries, because they are whacking great batteries, and there's 2 of them, and that joint at the bottom is strong. I'm not worried about that. I mean, that's fine. But if I was to smack it on something, apart from that, smash the cameras, it's a very strong nylon bond, this material, but it's not indestructible. Okay, that's what I'm going to say on that. But yeah, so hope that's of some use to people, and speak to you soon.